Adobe. So we're excited to be down there and share. You guys have really been a part of this since we went to Fox back in 2005 and said, hey, Fox, we have an idea. We think we're ready to make this movie. And I tell people that literally the first piece of software that we went out and purchased for the film was Adobe software to help us get going. So
excellent.
Thrilled to be here.
Well, tell you what, I know you've got a couple pieces you want to walk people through, so better for me to give you the stage and let you walk them through. Now we're going to come back after John's done, and I'll kind of come back on stage before we actually roll. We're going to actually let you use those really cool looking 3D glasses in just a moment. But before then, we're going to let John actually walk you through the background behind the movie.
Great, thank you very much, Sean. I want to share with you a little bit of the history of Avatar and also Adobe's role in how we got here today. We're going to play up behind me some very early concept work that went in and of course was done using Adobe Photoshop, which was literally the first piece of software we went out, because while on Titanic we knew about Avatar, but the technology did not exist to tell Avatar at that point. Avatar, one of the very exciting things, it creates a whole new universe. Now that wasn't the technology challenge. The technology challenge was putting characters in the center of that universe that could be emotive and engaging. Because at the end of the day, movies aren't about scaling the scope, they are about the close-up. But we had to do all of it together. We had to create the world and create the technology. And Photoshop we turned to right from the beginning. Not only did they work with Photoshop on the concept designs, but throughout the process we used Photoshop to actually create the textures for the characters and the creatures that you are later going to see in the clips that we have here today. All in all, we also used InDesign to set up things that we presented for different people on the production, that while we were handing out artwork, for laying out our storyboards, our concept art. It was all together a very intuitive thing. We're also going to play behind me in a moment a clip using After Effects. After Effects was a very key tool for us on the show. We wanted to be able to show Jim material right on the set in what we call real time, with real-time compositing, where we could shoot an environment where a CGI character was not there, but show them in the scene so Jim knew what it was, or where we had a green screen to almost instantaneously in real time replace that green screen with elements that weren't there. So we turned to After Effects to help us with that. But After Effects was also used earlier. We had to get the go-ahead on this project. And what we did, we created an art reel. And it was using effects in After Effects that helped us put together this art reel where we could present it to 20th Century Fox and get back to them. Part of the technology I was talking about is facial image recognition. Instead of using a series of markers on people's faces, we wanted to use an image-based technology that would capture more of the performance. So our actors actually wore a head rig. Like I'm wearing this microphone, but the head rig, instead of being a microphone, was a wide-angle video camera. That video camera would stay with them wherever they performed, and we would record their performance. Then Weta Digital down in New Zealand, Peter Jackson's company, would interpret that image on a frame-by-frame basis, almost on a pour-by-pour level, to drive a higher fidelity performance. And when we would see this back in our virtual production stage, we again used After Effects to create what we called kabuki masks, where that video image was literally pasted on to our CG characters so we could see the performance, again, in real time. We also were able to use After Effects' procedural scripting as we went through the process to affect our pipeline and to make everything work that much smoother. And of course, we also turned to Premiere to do work, where things would go right into Premiere right on the stage. We would feed material coming right off of our capture stage into Premiere, and we were able to work with it. We were able to check stereo space using Premiere and see how everything lined up and back and forth. We also, of course, used Lightroom. We used Lightroom where we had over 10,000 images on the movie that we documented. We were able to track and catalog and use all the metadata. We were able to do manipulation. So again, all in all, it was really all about bringing the Adobe family into the Lightstorm workflow. The way we most recently used is Acrobat Connect. Recently we were doing a shoot and one of our key artists, Casey Schatz, wasn't able to be there on the set. He had to go back to another office to do some work. Well, thanks to Acrobat Connect, he was able to access computers we had on the set, work with another artist who was less familiar with what we were doing, and it was as if Casey was there. It was really something we could not have gotten through that day without. The way I look at it, there are certain softwares that enable you to do your job. There are other softwares that enable you to do your job better. And that's what we've found with all the Adobe products that we work with throughout the course of Avatar. So to Adobe, I want to say thank you for that. And next, what I want to do is I want to share with you some of the material from Avatar. But before we do that, I think Johnny has some housekeeping that he needs to take care of.
Thanks, John.